Spider-Man No Way Home could have been a completely different movie. Villains we never saw were planned, fights were rewritten, and the multiverse almost opened in ways fans would never forget. Peter's friends, his choices, even who survived, were debated until the very end. Every draft pushed the story to the edge of chaos. Marvel's original plan would have changed everything we thought we knew about Spider-Man. This is the untold story of the movie that almost was. Long before the multiverse became the centerpiece, Marvel had a very different vision. The story was darker, more grounded, and centered around a villain who sees heroes not as enemies, but as the ultimate prey.
And behold, hell followed with him.
That villain was Kraven the Hunter. In Marvel Comics, Kraven is a relentless tracker, a predator who hunts for the thrill, not for money or revenge. And the early plan for No Way Home placed him right at the center of the story. The setup was perfect. At the end of Far From Home, Mysterio exposes Peter's secret to the entire world.
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker.
Everyone now knows he is Spider-Man. The original script imagined what would happen if a predator like Kraven entered the scene. No hiding, no allies. Just Peter being chased across New York City, hunted through streets, alleys, and rooftops like prey in a jungle. Writers Chris McKenna and Eric Summers have confirmed that every early draft they worked on featured Kraven. And for a time, it looked like this was the version we would get. In 2019, Marvel and Sony had a very public split. Headlines declared that Spider-Man was leaving the MCU. Marvel began shaping No Way Home as if it might be Holland's final chapter. Kraven was a safe choice because Sony fully controlled the character, which meant no messy rights issues and no multiverse complications. But then the studio politics shifted. Sony was developing a solo Kraven project, which made them reluctant to use him in Spider-Man. At the same time, fans online were buzzing about a live-action Spider-Verse. When Marvel and Sony finally renegotiated, and after Tom Holland personally reached out to save the deal, the focus turned from a grounded manhunt thriller to something far bigger. After the Kraven story was abandoned, Marvel had to rethink everything. They were no longer telling a grounded hunt story. They were stepping into the multiverse. And in those early drafts, one character was going to change everything: America Chavez. Concept art shows her standing with Peter, MJ, and Ned, confident and ready to guide them through the multiverse. She was supposed to be the one opening the portals, the bridge between No Way Home and Doctor Strange in the multiverse of madness. Instead of Ned accidentally using magic with the sling ring, America would have controlled the flow of realities with precision. She would have been the calm in the chaos, the expert everyone relied on while worlds collided around them. Imagine the movie with her in the center. Peter is trying to hold everything together. MJ is terrified for him. Ned is wide-eyed with panic. And America is there, stepping through glowing portals like she owns the multiverse, pulling in Tobey and Andrew, keeping the villains contained and turning chaos into strategy. Her presence would have made the story tighter and the multiverse feel real, deliberate, and alive. It would have given Peter a powerful ally he desperately needed in the madness, and it would have added a completely new energy to the movie. But timing betrayed this plan. COVID delays reshuffled Marvel's schedule. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where America was officially supposed to appear, now came out after No Way Home. Introducing her too early would have confused the audience. People would have seen her powers and her confidence, but would have had no idea who she was. The writers made a tough call. America was removed. Ned became the accidental magic user. It kept the story simpler and focused on Peter's journey, but it also robbed the film of a character who could have been the key to controlling the multiverse. Looking at the concept art, it is easy to imagine a movie where America Chavez leads the team, shaping events and redefining everything we think about this Spider-Man story. Cutting America Chavez opened the door for the filmmakers to rethink how the villains would interact, and one name that kept coming up was Mysterio. Quentin Beck was supposed to be dead after Far From Home, but early drafts imagined him surviving. He was going to return, not as a cameo, but as a fully involved threat, adding another layer of danger for Peter. Writers considered placing him alongside the other multiversal villains, making him a part of the chaos while still holding a unique edge. Reports suggest early concepts had him facing Doctor Strange in a major confrontation at the Statue of Liberty. This would have emphasized Mysterio's skills as an illusionist while showing that even the masters of magic could be challenged. The problem was balance. No Way Home already had 5 major villains, each with their own story arcs and motivations. Adding Mysterio as a 6th risked overcomplicating the story and diluting the focus on Peter. Every villain needed enough time to make an impact, and Mysterio's inclusion could have distracted from the emotional weight of Peter's journey and Aunt May's story. In the end, Mysterio was cut from the main conflict. He remained only in references and subtle nods, a reminder of Peter's past mistakes and the danger of underestimating his enemies. Removing him kept the story tight and ensured the multiverse villains received the attention they deserved. After Mysterio was removed, Marvel considered bringing back a villain who had history with Peter. Michael Keaton's Adrian Toombs, the Vulture from Homecoming, appeared in early concept art as part of the multiversal chaos.
Business is good.
His return would have connected Holland's trilogy, showing that Spider-Man's past still had consequences. Vulture could have added depth to the villain lineup. He knew Peter personally and could exploit that knowledge in ways new villains could not. The idea was to show a seasoned foe confronting a hero who had grown but still had vulnerabilities. Vulture interacting with the multiverse villains could have created unexpected moments of tension, strategy, and confrontation, blending the familiar with the chaotic. The plan fell apart for practical reasons. Sony had Keaton lined up for Morbius and did not want the character appearing in multiple films simultaneously. The story already had 5 major villains, and adding Vulture risked overcomplicating the narrative and distracting from Peter's personal stakes. Writers briefly toyed with a full Sinister Six, but balancing 6 complex arcs would have crowded the film and diluted its emotional impact. Even though Vulture never appeared on screen, the concept reminds fans of the stakes Peter faces. It shows that Spider-Man's world carries history, where past enemies can influence present battles. Vulture's potential return remains one of the most tantalizing what-ifs in the making of No Way Home, leaving fans imagining how much sharper and deeper the story could have been. The original plan for No Way Home had Doctor Strange chasing Peter through multiple realities in a sequence far bigger than what we saw. Peter would dash through streets and buildings that twisted and split apart, slipping in and out of alternate versions of New York. Every step brought a new challenge, a new version of the city where nothing behaved like it should. He was trying to contain a disaster, pulling Peter across dimensions as the multiverse threatened to spiral out of control. The idea was to show just how unpredictable and dangerous these other worlds could be. Each shift in reality tested Peter's skills and pushed him closer to the edge, giving audiences a glimpse of the chaos the multiverse could unleash.
What is this place?
The mirror dimension, where I'm in control.
The filmmakers had to scale it back. Budget limits and story flow meant turning a sprawling, universe-hopping chase into a single mirror dimension sequence. The final scene kept the tension and magical action, but most of the wild, mind-bending ideas were cut. Even in its smaller form, the chase grabs attention and keeps hearts racing. The original vision hints at something bigger, showing just how massive the multiverse could be and how close we came to seeing Spider-Man and Strange in a reality-shattering showdown. Once the multiverse chase was scaled down, the filmmakers turned their attention to the returning villains, and that's where things got really creative. Each villain had a long history on screen, but Marvel wanted them to feel fresh while still keeping the nostalgia fans loved. The result was a series of radical redesigns that almost made it into the movie. Electro was one of the first to get a makeover. Early ideas ranged from the neon blue look in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 to a more classic approach with yellow lightning markings across his face. The goal was to make him feel powerful but human enough to interact with Holland's Spider-Man. They wanted fans to recognize him immediately while also being excited by a new take. Green Goblin went through some of the wildest changes. Concept art shows him in tactical armor, even borrowing tech from Stark Industries, or mixing pieces of Iron Man-style suits into his classic green and purple colors. At one point, he almost looked like a militarized version of the villain, a far cry from the hooded, broken-down Goblin we finally saw. The Lizard was reimagined too, leaning toward a more monstrous, reptilian design straight from the comics. Snout, tail, sharper claws, he was terrifying, a creature Spider-Man had to face head-on. Dr. Ock received changes as well, aged up with gray hair and redesigned tentacles, making him look both seasoned and threatening. These experiments were more than cosmetic. They were a balancing act, trying to honor the original characters while making them fit seamlessly into the MCU's modern style. Some ideas were too extreme, others too subtle, but together they show the lengths Marvel went to make No Way Home a true celebration of Spider-Man's cinematic history. After experimenting with villain designs, the filmmakers faced the toughest question of all. Who would pay the ultimate price in this story? Early drafts toyed with shifting the weight of tragedy. At one point, Happy Hogan was set to die instead of Aunt May, leaving Peter with heartbreak and rage, a push that could have shaped his hero journey in a darker, angrier direction. But the writers realized something important. May had always been the heart of Peter's story. Her role wasn't just about guidance, she carried the moral anchor.
And with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
That famous line, "with great power comes great responsibility," had to come from her. Giving Peter that lesson in her final moments transformed the emotional core of the movie. Her death became the true turning point, cementing Holland's Spider-Man as a hero shaped by loss, not just by battles. Even Peter's closest friends had alternate fates on the table. MJ could have forgotten him entirely, yet carried a vague, haunting sense that something was missing. Ned's magic powers might have grown darker, hinting at a future as a hobgoblin-like figure. These options could have created more tension and drama, but they also risked overshadowing Peter's journey. In the end, Marvel made the bold choice to strip everything down. The movie closes on the quiet cafe scene. Peter sits alone, watching MJ and Ned go about their lives, safe and happy but completely unaware of Hui Island. No fan service, no dramatic teases, no shortcuts, just Peter's sacrifice laid bare, the weight of his choices hitting harder than any battle. It's a quiet ending, but it defines the Spider-Man we've been following, showing the cost of being a hero in the most personal way possible. The production of No Way Home was hit hard by forces outside the creative team's control. When COVID shut down film sets worldwide, Marvel had to completely reshuffle the Phase 4 slate. Spider-Man's production stalled, release dates shifted, and connections to other MCU films became a moving target. Early plans for villains, plot lines, and even multiverse mechanics suddenly had to be reevaluated. At the same time, Marvel and Sony were renegotiating Spider-Man's place in the MCU. There were serious questions about whether Tom Holland's Spider-Man would continue at all, and the pressure to deliver a blockbuster that satisfied both fan expectations and studio requirements was immense. Every story choice now had to serve not just the film itself, but also these larger contractual obligations. Scenes that had been written with care had to be cut or altered because of timing, rights, or future universe plans. Many of the concepts that didn't make it, Kraven as the main villain, Mysterio returning, America Chavez opening portals, fell victim to these logistical and legal realities more than creative failure. The team had to find a balance between what they wanted to do and what they could actually do under these extraordinary circumstances. The result is a film that is unlike any Spider-Man movie before it. It blends nostalgia with spectacle while navigating restrictions that would have crippled any lesser production. The story that made it to the screen may not have included every original idea, but it captures the heart of Spider-Man and delivered a cultural phenomenon. If you love exploring these behind-the-scenes secrets and discovering the choices that shaped your favorite movies, make sure to subscribe. Hit the button and turn on notifications, because there's always more to uncover about Spider-Man and the Marvel Universe.